Yes, Mr. Shawqi. Homework, please.
I didn't do the homework.
Okay, X. طيب صالح حمام. صلاح حمام. صلاح حمام. homework صلاح. Okay. طلال.
Mister, I sent it to you Thursday.
Okay, tell me the last two numbers from your phone number.
Wait, I
No,
forgot
Mr.
what's it.
Mr. I
13, Mister. 13. 6013.
6013. Okay. Where is it? Yeah, 6013. And I said for you, shukran. Right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, طلال. وبعدها
Sir,
نقاط.
I sent mine. Did you see it?
لما يجي دورك وين. Yes, I saw it homework for you, محمد باز. عبد الإله بدر. عبد الإله, homework not sent. And you are absent also, عبد الإله. ماشي. Okay. عبد الإله absent. Okay, عبد الله حجازي. عبد الله حجازي. This all guys from your mouth. براحتكم. عبد الله حجازي. You hear عبد الله?
Did you call?
محمد عثمان. Yes, it is عبد الإله. Yes, عبد الإله بدر. What is your homework?
I sent it to you يوم الجمعة.
Mr. I'll send you the homework now,
I
okay?
send you the homework for you Friday. عبد الإله. Yes, who said guys I send the homework for you Friday? عبد الإله.
No, Mr. محمد إياد.
اصبر يا محمد بالله لما يجي دورك. مع عبد الإله homework not yet, right? So you attend but no homework. The homework guys should be sent inshallah until 3 p.m. النهارده الساعة 3 آخر. Okay, عبد الله حجازي no, right? عمر باقي الدين yes. عمر خالد. عمر خالد quickly guys please. Here is عمر خالد. عمر زكريا عبد الله.
I sent it to you.
عمر سلامة. عمر أحمد سلامة.
Homework is sent. I sent the homework now.
The last to the numbers from the phone number is
075.
What?
The last three numbers 075.
Yes, 715.
2041. 2041.
Huh?
041. Last three numbers.
041. Okay, okay. Okay, عمر بهاني. عمر أمين. أمير. Okay, عمر همام. عمر همام. The homework. .7 and inshallah tomorrow guys I'm gonna complete the exercises of 6.6 and check the homework for yesterday but I'm waiting for your homework. That's it. Okay, here in this lesson 6.7 the dot product of two vectors. The dot product of two vectors as you see here in this page. You see my screen? Everything's okay? Let's get started.
Yes,
please. Definition of dot product of two vectors. If you have two vectors, the first vector is A, 1i plus b1j, and w is the second vector. A2i plus b2j are two vectors. Okay. The dot product of these two vectors. The dot product of these two vectors. V dot w equals a1, a2 plus b1, b2. Okay, is the sum of the products of their horizontal and vertical components. Okay, so it's the sum of their horizontal or the products of their horizontal and vertical components. So in this lesson, this is the first objective is to find the dot product of two vectors. We have to learn today. In example 1, by using this fact that the dot product of two vectors is the sum of the products of their horizontal and vertical components. We just multiply A1, A2, and plus B2, B1, B2. Simple and easy. The answer here of the first question or the first example, Ziad Muhammad, may help me here in this question. Solve with me, Ziad. V dot W. V dot W and the dot product of these two vectors, V and W, is equal to, we just multiply here the vertical components plus the horizontal components أو vice versa. نبدأ بالvertical والhorizontal. اتفضل.
يعني will add ال V مع ال W.
لا yes, multiply 5 by negative 3.
Negative 15i.
Negative 15 only without I. And then multiply negative
4 مع 4. Negative 8.
Negative 8. Okay? Yeah, I'll leave it like this. Okay? And then you can لازم الدوت product يطلع a number يعني add negative 15 plus negative 8 gives negative what?
Negative 23.
Negative 23. So that the product is a number. Thanks a lot. Next question, Muhammad Faris, letter B. We would like to find here W dot V and the dot product of the two vectors W and V. Yes? W dot V, W and V. Huh?
Yes. Yes, the same thing, sir. Negative 15 plus negative 8.
Plus negative 8, which is the same.
Negative 23.
23. Okay, letter C. Letter C, Yusuf Tamer. Yes, V dot V. V dot V equal.
V dot, okay.
V by itself.
25i.
Yeah, 25 only without I. And
plus minus 4.
About positive 4, which is now 20 what? 29. Okay, Muhammad Kayali. In checkpoint number 1, let's do here the first one, letter A. Yes, Muhammad Kayali, letter A.
Yes.
V dot W equal.
Where? Okay. ZI minus 4J.
You just multiply here the horizontal components, 7 and 2. What's the product of 7 and 2?
Yes.
It's ضروري يا مستر لو كنت مركز معنا. A1 and A2 plus B1 and B2. What?
A1. Yes.
So what? Multiply 7 by 2 is 14.
7 I multiply.
Without I.
Yes, 14.
Yeah,
and
negative 4.
Negative 4J. J.
Negative 4 here times negative 1 here. The vertical components اللي هو negative 4 مع negative 1 times each other gives what? Positive 4. And then another 14 and
4.
What is 18? It's called what? Dot product of two vectors V and W. Okay, pay attention, man. Okay, now Omar Khalid. Omar Khalid. Okay, thank you, Omar. Do you have any question, Omar? Is it clear for you? سهلة؟ Okay, Omar. طيب نسأل عبد الإله بدر. Next letter, next question, letter B. What's the dot product of W dot V equal? Yes.
The same as M, sir.
The same as A. W dot V is the same as V dot W because multiplication is commutative. So we will multiply here 2 by 4 by 7 is 14 and multiply but negative 1 by negative 4 gives positive 4. 14 and 4 gives what? Gives 18 also. So from this we can say that, conclude that V dot W is the same as W dot V. V dot W is the same or equal to W dot V because as Muhammad Faris said, multiplication is what? Commutative. Okay. Like 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. Now, اوكي نادر احمد عبد الستار هلا والله. طيب w dot v w square w dot w او w times w. Yes, who can do it? Let me
I
ask.
can.
يلا مس.
Okay. 2 times 2 4 and plus 1 4 plus 1 equal 5.
It's 4, right? And then negative 1, which is positive 1. So in all, it's what? It's 5. And this is our what? First concept in this lesson. Our first part in the lesson. Our first objective. Easy? طيب. Okay. Any question? I don't think so that you have a question here. But if you have, I'm here, guys. Me hear you. حد عنده أسئلة؟
نو
مستر
مستر.
No,
نو
Mr.
كلير
Easy.
مش ايزي.
Yes. Yes.
سوري مستر في واحد في الويتنج روم
Okay, no more by the end of the group.
اسمه محمد دهمان
ده مش موجود معي خلاص.
مش موجود but مستر آخر واحد ما فهمته.
Last question.
Yes W ما فهمته.
Yes, here's W, right? Here's vector. It's called W. To multiply the 2 by 2 and multiply the negative 1 by negative 1, because in the dot product we just multiply the horizontal by horizontal and the vertical by vertical. So 2 times 2 is 4, and negative 1 times negative 1 up here is what? Is positive 1. Multiply it by itself. يعني we can write it as شوف ممكن نكتبه بطريقة ثانية يعني نكتب w dot w is equal to 2i minus j, and this multiplied by itself, which is 2i minus j. 2 by 2 gives what? 4, and the negative 1 here by negative 1 gives a positive 1, add up gives a 5. This is the final answer of letter C.
Thank you مستر. أيوة مستر.
Well,
Thank you.
yes, let's move on, guys, to some properties of dot products. As we said here in the previous slide, that the dot product is commutative. It's commutative means the same as multiplication process, guys, that multiplying two numbers or two real numbers together, okay, and it changes their orders, doesn't it change the result, right? Like 2 times 3 is 3 times 2, 6 in all. U dot v is the same as v dot u, and also the associative property of multiplication is the same هنا برضه for dot product. U dot v plus w, you can هنا distributive property, sorry, the distributive property, you can distribute the u on v and on w, like uv plus uw تقدر تعمل distributive property, and the identity property of multiplication is the same for dot product. 0 dot v equals 0, 0 vector dot v equals 0, and like letter C here, w dot w or v dot v and letter C, we just square it, okay, like magnitude of v squared, okay. And if you have C u, يعني C constant multiplied vector u multiply v associative property, you can multiply first the two vectors and then multiply the answer by this C أو العكس. C dot V and then multiply the result by U. It's called associative property. Here is another way, guys, to here is Muhammad لسه داخل. طيب, alternative formula for the dot product. Alternative property from the dot product. I have two vectors here, v and w. You can write here, and the angle here, theta, is between the two, the smallest angle between the two vectors, w and v. Then the dot product can be written in another way, magnitude v, magnitude w, cosine theta. And what's the angle between them? What's the angle between the two vectors? How to find the angle here between them? This is the rule. This is the rule. طيب. Give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here's another way. Sorry, guys. Here is another way of writing the dot product. V dot V equals magnitude V magnitude W cosine theta. To find the angle between the two vectors, we just solve this formula for cosine theta, and then find what cosine theta and theta. Okay, who can find it? Isolate cosine theta on one side. Yes, Mr. Hamad Sabai. To solve the cosine theta here, so we have
magnitude of
yes, right, cosine theta alone on one side equals magnitude of what?
of V magnitude of W
magnitude of W, and this all over
over
what?
V times W.
V dot W. So to find theta, only the angle between the two
A
vectors.
cosine inverse.
Cosine inverse of this
Magnitude.
whole stuff.
Yes, magnitude of V times magnitude of W over V times W.
Yes. So simply here's the rule without proving, without anything, okay? We just use the formula to solve questions. ما في proofs.
Mister, isn't it the opposite? V times W over magnitude V and magnitude W? The opposite, mister? Because if you look at the equation,
Yeah, it should be the opposite, Sabai.
Yeah.
It should be the opposite. And we have to say it's V dot W over magnitude V magnitude W. I'm sorry. It's V dot W over magnitude V and magnitude what? W. So it's inverse cosine of V dot W over magnitude V. Magnitude W. Okay, Mr. Sabai. تمام.
Okay.
Okay. Using this fact, guys, here is it. Find the angle between two vectors. Find the angle between measure. Find the angle between the vectors. V equals 3i minus 2j and W equals negative I plus 4j. Shown in this figure at the right. This angle theta between two vectors. طبعا احنا how to plot the point for the vector negative 1 and 4 and the other vector is 3 and negative 2. Okay, round your angle to the nearest 10th of a degree. So simply, we can complete here using this rule. I can copy it here. Theta equals cosine inverse V dot W over the magnitude V magnitude W. أنا محتاج فيها بعض الأشياء. Yes, I have to find first the dot product VW. As we did it in the first objective, when I multiply 3 by negative 1 gives negative 3.
Negative 3.
And the negative 2 times
Minus
4.
Minus 8.
Minus 8. In all here we have negative 11.
11. Yes.
This is the first part we need, the numerator. The denominator, which is magnitude V and magnitude W, and then multiply them together عشان أحصل على the denominator. What's the magnitude V يا شباب؟ يا شباب.
Square root of V squared
plus
plus 2 squared
negative 2 squared. So we have here 9 and 4. It's yes. 13. Radical 13. Radical 13. 1 3 here. The magnitude of W, which is يلا the W in W here. Yes.
Negative 1 squared.
Negative 1 is squared and then plus 4 squared. Whole squared, which is the square root of 1 squared plus 16 gives radical 17. حلو. Theta equals cosine inverse of. طبعا to prove this rule عشان بس الناس تبقى عارفه you have to use the law of cosine. That's why إن في cosine in the في الفورمولا يعني. Law of what? Cosine. What is law of cosine? What's the law of cosine, guys? Law of cosine, which is مثلا a squared وسمينا ان هذا a وهذا b وهذا مين c. So you will find a squared equals b squared
plus c
squared minus 2b times c times cosine الانجل اللي بينهم اللي هي ثيتا. حلو.
Yes.
Okay, and then solve ده وكده وبعدين تطلع الفورمولا دي. انا مش محتاج منك كده بس لو عايز يعني تلعب شويه. Okay, here cosine inverse of what? Of a fraction. In the numerator we have the product of the dot product of V and W, which is negative 11. حلو.
Negative
Down in
11.
the denominator, down here, we
Radical
write
30.
حلو جدا
Yes.
times root 17.
Yes.
Cosine inverse and then calculator عادي. Negative 11 over 13 times 17. Use your calculator.
Sir, 137.
الانجل
0.7.
كلها صح؟
Yes, 137.7.
حلو. And we have 11 times 17 is 187. طبعا هنا تاخد الانفرس كوساين على الكالكوليتر تطلع كام about كام؟
137.7.
137.7.
Yes.
That's 7 what?
Degrees, yeah.
بعد ال 7 في 8 في 9 ولا round to the nearest tenth of a degree. يعني بعد ال 7 في 5 في 6 في 7 كده ولا خلاص تراوندت يعني انت.
لا مستر 2. ف
يبقى
keep it
خلاص.
7. Yeah.
Okay, keep it 7. So your answer with your angle in between the two vectors V and W given in the question is 137.7 degrees. So again, you have to use this formula to find the angle between two vectors. Is it clear? Cosine inverse of the product of V and W, these two vectors, على magnitude W magnitude V. يبقى قبل ما اشتغل على الرول you have to find the three steps دول V dot W and magnitude V magnitude W and then substitute in the formula cosine inverse of negative 11 over radical 13 radical 17. Again, do you have any question?
No, clear,
Right.
Mr.
وبعدين نشأت. عبادة.
Yes, Mr.
Do you have any question?
Mr.
عبادة نشأت. يقرأ عبادة نشأت.
No, Mr. No, Mr. الصوت عندي مش واضح.
تمام. Okay. Checkpoint 2. نادر أحمد أمت الستار. تفضل solve this question. Find the angle between these two vectors. The first one V equals 4I minus 3J and WI plus 2J round to the nearest tenth of a degree. The answer. Yes, Abada.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah. Write the formula. What's theta between these two vectors? Cosine inverse of fraction. The numerator is V dot
Sir,
W.
can you solve it again so I didn't get the last example?
I'm substituting here. Here's the last example. Here is the rule.
I didn't understand it well. Can you solve it again?
عندك V
Or
dot
solve the second example.
Okay. في عندك ال V dot W يعني the dot product of two vectors. You just multiply أو add the sum يعني of the products of the vertical and horizontal components. How to get the sum of them, the products of them. بنعمل multiply 3 بالنيجاتيف 1 gives a negative 3. Multiplying the negative 2 by positive 4 gives a negative 8. Add negative 3, negative 8 gives a negative 11. This is the numerator V dot W. The denominator في magnitude V magnitude W. طب magnitude V ليه rule equals the square root of squaring the A and squaring the B. ال A هي 3 squared equal 9. 9 plus the squaring of negative 2 which is 4. So 9 and 4 is 13. So the magnitude of V is radical 13. نفس الشيء بالنسبة لماجنتيود W the other vector بعمل معاه نفس الكلام. The squaring of the square root of negative 1 هنا ال A squared and B squared اللي هي 4 squared. فبيطلع لي يا شباب 1 squared plus 16 which is radical 17. واعمل substitution and then calculate using your calculator. Okay يا نادر تعال معايا بقى. يلا let's find first V dot W. In this example, I will check.
So it will be 4 plus negative 6.
حلو بلس عشان اعرف ان هو sum وبعدين negative 6 between parentheses which is actually equal negative 2. This is the numerator. طيب the magnitude of v
It will be 1 squared plus 2 squared.
of 1 squared plus
2
3.
squared.
ليه 2 3 احنا في هنا يبقى 4 squared.
So 4 squared صح 4 squared minus negative 3 squared.
Yeah, equal
16 plus 9.
radical 25 which is 5.
5.
حلو. Magnitude of W
It will be 1 squared plus 2 squared. It will be 4. It will be 2.
Okay. It's 1 squared and then plus 2 squared.
It will be 5.
It will be 5. Radical 5. Radical 5. Substitute here in the formula v dot cosine inverse of v dot W over magnitude v magnitude what W. Yes. معايا يبقى
cosine inverse
of what?
Of negative 2.
Yes. Over
5.
This by this.
Radical 5.
5 radical 5, which is 5 times radical 5. And then calculator to gives you the theta, which is the angle between the two vectors given up here. Yes, I'm waiting for your answer. Do you have a calculator?
Yes.
You have a calculator?
Sir, 100.3.
100.3 degrees. هو قال لك leave your answer in terms of degrees وبعدين in degrees وسيبها tenth to the nearest one tenth. يعني 1 digit to the right of the decimal point. I think it's so easy. Right? تعال نشوف الشباب. Do you have any questions?
No, easy.
No, miss.
يزن يونس نواف not absent. الدين عبد الله. Any questions?
No, thank you, miss.
Yes, Mr. عمر الدين موجودة.
طيب. Next part. I'd like to leave this part guys tomorrow then we have time. We still have only how many objectives are there in this lesson? We have 1 احنا أخذنا 1 and 2, okay? We still have 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 using that product to determine if two vectors are orthogonal يعني perpendicular. Okay, find the projection of a vector into another vector and express a vector as the sum of two orthogonal vectors and compute work. Okay. We have 2 minutes left and we can do a lot of things, صح? Right?
مسار 2 minutes ايش a lot of things.
طيب I will stop
يعطيك العافية.
Wait بس